Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to one of my favourite people, John Owen Jones. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks.
We've known each other a long time. I did a show. I launched Scarlet FM there in Llanelli all those years ago, and I went to your dad's butcher's there in Buryport. We had a lot of fun. Then I got to see you. I've seen you endlessly. I've been to Las Vegas. I've been on Broadway and done 5 Phantoms. I think I've done 3 in the West End, and you're the best of the lot. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. That's an amazing thing to tell me. Thank you.
I sincerely mean it, and I'll tell you why. I have a lot of sympathy with Phantom because he's an outcast. I'm ginger. We have something in common. And the thing is, you've got to kind of love him and feel sorry for him, as well as appreciate that he's a crook and he's not a particularly nice man. It's a really fine balance, isn't it?
Yeah, I think one of the things with Phantom is peculiar to this particular role is that you empathise with him because he is an outcast, and everyone's been in that position at some point. So for some reason, people tend to overlook his bad side. He's a murderer, he's a blackmailer and an extortionist. He's not very nice at all, but he's been kind of put into that position by the way he was treated when he was younger, you know, and that's kind of the other side that you don't really see of the Phantom, but it's just hinted at. And of course he's rejected by the one love of his life, and everyone kind of has been there, you know.
You've got to have sort of everything in this show. You've got to have the warmth to pull off the fact that he's a troubled man. You've got to have the nastiness of the fact that he's a villain. And then at the end, you've got to sort of go leaving us thinking, ah.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. I mean, it's that's one of the joys of the role. Is it's deeply layered and very complex. And you know, I've played the role for nearly 2,000 times now in the West End and now on the UK tour, and I'm always finding something new with it. You know, it's just beautifully written, and it's a very easy job I have every night.
Forgive me for looking into your right eye. I can't look to the left because you're in makeup at the moment, and it is awfully creepy.
Yeah, well, this new makeup design is particularly creepy because it's much more realistic than the original West End design. The original West End design, of course, was designed 25 years ago, and the whole techniques and everything they do now have been brought up to date. And this new design was designed by the guy who does all the Doctor Who teleseries and Torchwood and things like that. So, but it's very easy to work with, but it is quite shocking when people don't know. When I walk backstage and people haven't seen me in the makeup, they freak out a little bit.
The last time I spoke to you, I said, how long can you keep doing this? Because doing 8 shows a week in this role is absolutely draining. It's got to be, because you're emotional and you've got to sing at the top of your voice. We're here 5 years later and you're still doing it, and you appear to still love it. How have you managed that?
That's a very good question. I do have my days when it's very, very tough to get into work sometimes. But once the lights go down and the music starts, it all kind of takes care of itself, you know. But I think I'm going to hang my mask up for a while, having done a lot of performances now and been given the chance to reinvent it in this new production that we're doing on tour. I think I've kind of done as much as I can do with Phantom for a long time now.
I don't know whether I want to be you in a way, because you've done Phantom and you've done Jean Valjean. I don't know where you go from here, because I said to you last time, these are the 2 iconic roles that people spend their entire lives wanting to achieve, and you've done it. So I suppose the next step in your career is what we're here talking about today, which is the album Unmasked, which is incredible. It's anthemic and it's beautifully produced, and it must be really hard to get a decent CD together today.
Yeah, it is tough to put that kind of thing together, but you know, I had the backing of a very good record company who were very supportive and gave me complete artistic control over it, you know. But yeah, that's where I want to move into in the future, is some concerts and more recording, because there's one thing that a lot of, I hate to use the term fans, but a lot of my fans just want me to record and record and record so they can listen to me sing all the time, and I've never really thought of doing that, but now I think maybe the time is to start doing more recording, yeah.
I've tried to think of how to describe your voice, and of course I can't do it justice because it's completely unique, but I think for me it's the bass in it and that rawness and incredible depth to the voice. Is that 40 cigarettes a day? What is it?
I don't know what it is, actually. I'm just kind of born with it. I've never had singing lessons, but I suppose it's that Welsh kind of thing. We've got like a sing-song accent, you know, so it's just kind of in there, you know. But no, I don't smoke, I don't drink very much. Though we'll be having a little drink tonight, I think, after a tough show. It was a tough show this evening, being so warm backstage as well, and I'm just getting over food poisoning as well, so it's all one of those kind of things, you know. But yeah, I think maybe tonight particularly it was a bit gravelly, but normally it's a bit more tenorial. But I like to describe my voice as warm and mellifluous.
Very nice. I'd agree with that. I don't want to give away any secrets, and I certainly don't want to give anybody an excuse to give you a pay cut. But is this really hard for you now, or is it quite easy? I mean, you've got to know it inside out. You've sung it so many times.
It's a bit of both, actually. Sometimes, I know it so well now, I can just put it on like an old suit and away you go, But that's kind of what makes it fun as well, that I can actually then explore it and change it and make it new every night. But by the same token, on the other side of the coin, it is hard to do. Sometimes you come into work and you're thinking, oh, how am I going to do this tonight? But as I said earlier, it just kind of takes care of itself. But it can be very tough sometimes, very tough.
Are you wearing this garb all night, or does this come on later in the show?
This is on from the very beginning. I start about an hour before everyone else. On matinee days, it takes about an hour and a half to put on this makeup, and I can't take it off in between shows on a matinee day. So if I'm doing 2 shows, I start at like 12:30, and I don't finish till 11 at night, and I've got this silicone makeup on my face all day.
I mean, you are sweating. You've just come off stage. I think anybody would be. But is it irritating, or do they make sure that it doesn't cause you too much discomfort?
Well, it's constantly adjusted and tweaked all the way through the show, to keep it comfortable. What's peculiar about this particular makeup is actually I get sweat bubbles. So the sweat finds somewhere to go, and then the makeup starts to sag. So I have to kind of squeeze the sweat bubbles.
It's like lancing a boil halfway through the show.
Yeah, so I mean, the mirrors in my dressing room are covered in water, So it's lovely, isn't it?
How does it feel when you're stood on a new stage every few weeks and having to sort of redo the show? Because every stage is a different size, it's a different height, the audience is a different size. It must be a bit off-putting.
No, it's invigorating, actually. It's one of the joys of touring, is that you get to re-rehearse it every month or so, and the lighting's changed and they're always improving it, so you're seeing like the 5th incarnation of this production, because we've been to 5 venues now, and originally the whole show was completely different pretty much. Obviously the set was the same, but from my point of view, it's a new show now. Every time we go to a new venue, it's a new show, and I've only got 1 venue left, so so I'm enjoying every moment as I can, really.
I thought there were parts in this which were better than the original, and bits that you miss. Obviously, there's some of the huge stunts that they can't pull off that they do in the West End and on Broadway. Las Vegas, of course, takes it to another level. There's a certain rawness that we're focused on your acting and the voice more, which must be nice for you, because we're not distracted by the grandeur of the stage.
Well, one of the things that Cameron McIntosh, myself, and Lawrence Connor sat down and talked at the very beginning of rehearsals was how to retell the story. And one of the things I said at the beginning, and Lawrence agreed with me, was that I wanted to make the Phantom a man. He's not, he's not a ghost. He's just a ghost in the minds of the people that work in the theatre. And so then the decision was taken to kind of talk about, and perform the show from the story of backstage. So you see much more of the real life of backstage of the theatre, and you understand why the Phantom is there doing what he's doing, So, was there somebody singing in the background then? That sounds lovely. Yeah, I know, I have to put up with that all the time. So that's one of the things we tried to do, to give the story a fresh edge. When Hamlet or Lear or any Shakespeare play has been done 1,000 times, 1,000 different ways. And hopefully Phantom can do that too, and we're just the first people to do a fresh take on it,
When they sent me your CD months ago, I put it in and I thought, is this just going to be another sort of karaoke CD? Because a lot of people bring those out, don't they? Was it important for you to wait till now to get it right than put some rubbish out that's going to tarnish your reputation?
Well, yeah, I suppose it was. There are ways and means of cutting corners, but making it still sound very good. For example, we didn't use a full 65-piece orchestra. We recorded separate sections, like we did like a 5-piece string section, and then re-recorded them 4 or 5 times. I worked with a guy I've known since I was about 14 called John Quirk, who helped me put all the orchestrations together, and some of them are kind of my ideas and he's kind of embellished it, but it's hugely satisfying artistically to control something like that, and drive it in the direction you want, to alter it, as it were, and I didn't have any kind of real interference from the record company. They wanted me to put on songs from Phantom, which I had to do, but there's Thunderball on there and The Love of My Life from Queen, and those are tracks I've wanted to record for a long time, so they'd be very good to me and let me record that kind of stuff.
And it was nice as well that you did something like This Is My Moment, which is a beautiful song, and again you made it your own so beautifully. Thunderball's anthemic and big and a great song. I do hope we get to see you without all this on, just doing it by yourself on tour, because there are so few people who can stand there and do it, as the Olympics proved.
Yeah, they didn't they, a little bit, certainly in the closing ceremony. But
singing's not as easy as it looks, is it?
It's not. Well, there's lots of technical things they have to take into account in a massive stadium like that, but yeah, they could have done a better job. But yeah, I'm going to go on tour. I've got a few concerts planned, and it's all kind of in the mix at the moment. But I tell you, the first thing I'm going to do when I finish Phantom is go on holiday.
Yeah, and have a wash as well, if I were you. Very finally, the last time I saw you live was at the Les Miserables thing at the O2 at the 25th anniversary, and what a night that was. It was magical, and at the end, again, you got to steal it with that encore, that beautiful thing. How does that feel when you've got people around you who are all unique in their own way and all regarded as the best, and you're part of it? You must be one of those people who are the best at Jean Valjean.
Well, it's very nice of you to say that. It's an incredible feeling, really. It's one of those pinch me moments, and something I never dreamed I would be able to do. And I did the same with the 25th Phantom in the Albert Hall, and it's what's interesting about it is that I've worked in the show both the shows for so long that it was a big party, really. I knew everybody there, and I'd worked with them all, and it was great to see old friends. And then I come on and I sing a little bit at the end in these incredible arenas in front of rapturous audiences. It was fantastic.
And again, to have all those voices that were so different, that's the thing about Cameron and Andrew. They do give people their own chance to shine. You don't all have to be identikit, do you? No,
absolutely. I mean, I've been very lucky now that I've been able to reinvent two of the most iconic roles in musical theatre. And I took what Michael Crawford did, and I took what Colm Wilkinson did, and I kind of made them my own. And, they didn't have to do that, Cameron and Andrew. They literally could have just sat on a pile of money and gone, it's all working, let's not bother touching it. But they are constantly looking to refresh and reinvent as well. And it's very exciting to be part of that kind of ambition.
I get the feeling that Les Mis is a far harder show in terms of the acting, because you're on constantly, aren't you? In this, you come on and you get to steal it. I mean, your initial two songs, just incredible. We're all waiting for that number that we're going to play in a moment, of course, that's on the CD. Is there any better moment than getting on the stage after all the build-up, all of this nonsense with the makeup, and then just getting to shine? And it's very intimate, isn't it? Because there's not a loud band through all. I mean, there are some screamy moments, but you really get to sing.
Yeah, well, the difficulty between Phantom and Les Mis is that Les Mis, you kind of get to grow into the show. You start off kind of easy, and then it kind of grows and gets bigger and bigger. With Phantom, you have to start, hit the ground running, and it's bang, here I am, I'm the Phantom. And that's the hardest thing about this show, is getting up to tournament pitch in literally seconds. So
I've been very lucky in my career that I've interviewed many, many big stars, and few of them are as talented as you, who can go on and just knock it out of the park. I said this to you last time, I'm not making it up. You can listen back to all the interviews. You are definitely the world's greatest Phantom I've ever seen, and congratulations on being you, and look forward to the tour. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for all the kind words. Thank you.